That was a technical glitch. I was live twice in two different computers, so that's why the interference. So I guess everyone can hear me. Can someone maybe write on the chat yes to confirm? I don't see anything. Okay. Okay, so hello and welcome. Namaskar, good evening, and good afternoon to some of you who might have joined from Europe. So we are going live after a long time, almost 1.5 years, and not via Zoom, via YouTube, because we thought this is more reachable to everybody and easier for people to connect from all across the world. And today we are here, or rather, my father Rantidev Moitro is here with a new topic, which I hope everyone of us will enjoy. This is a journey to the land of Gandharvis of Benaras. And through this journey today, we will listen to about 10 gramophone records, old gramophone records. So, for those of you who might be here for the first time, Randidev Moitro, he is a record collector, a music lover, and a musicologist, and has thousands of gramophone records and books on music in his collection, mainly North Indian classical music, but also Western and some Carnatic classical music. And today we will interpret this topic of Journey to the World of Gandharvis through these some of these selected records of the great maestros of the 1930s. So before I start, I should not forget to thank Mr. Ashish Bhadro or Ashish Kaku. We are eternally indebted to him for digitizing these recordings and providing them in the perfect form. So let's start, Baba. So this we would like to understand more of why you chose this topic. So why the Gandharvis and why Benares?
Actually, you see, the concept started after I read that book, Thumrio Baiji. You can show this book, by Reba Muhuri.
Yeah,
Reba Muhuri,
it's in
it's
Bengali.
in Bengali. So this book is all about, her interactions, very intimate interactions with some of the great wives or Baijis, like Siddheshwari Rasulan and Barimoti Bai, mostly in Benares when she was there for 8 long years. Now, about the narrative, there are a lot of things in this narrative. It gives a decadent picture of that world. The world of the Tawais. They were not Tawais anymore. It's 1950s and 1960s. They were Tawais up to 1941, 42. So it will come up maybe later in the discussion. And what she saw, it's very tragic in most of the cases, but she also wrote on their music. And that is what we are going to talk about, listen to their music. And this music, the records I've chosen, are not from the period 1950s or 60s, but in 1930s, when most of them were in their prime. And they were not, they didn't change themselves to the later Devis and Divas. They were still by. So the form of songs they sung at that point of time was slightly different. It would be apparent to any discerning listener today. So
Did she use the word Gandharvi?
no, she also borrowed that word from her father, in fact, Amyona Sanyal. Amina Sanal is a very familiar name to the music lovers in Calcutta, not so familiar outside Calcutta, because it was he who introduced a host of, the entire generation of us to the world, a forgotten world of Mawjuddin, forgotten of Gahar Jan, Malka Jan, Fayaz Khan, Ghali Khan, and all those, great names who were there in Calcutta during the early part of 20th century. And he actually had met a lot of these Tawais or Baijis, and according to him, they were celestial singers or Gandharvis. The word Gandharvi was used by Amyona Sinal.
I may have read his encounter in in a book in Bengali.
Sriti
Okay.
Rothole,
Yeah,
yeah,
Sriti
in
Rothale.
English it could from the depths of memory or
Yeah.
something, yeah. Sriti Rothole, that there, he had drawn very intimate, pictures of all those names, which we were not familiar that day. Now, of course, we have got some gramophone records, but at that time it was only names. And that's a fascinating world. And it was through Amina Sannal, she got that idea about, the
Mm-hmm.
Gandharvis.
So let's maybe move on and listen to the first record that we have today. So what is it going to be?
It would be Siddheshwari Bai.
सिद्धेश्वरी बाई जमुने जमुना किनारे मेरा गांव.
नदिया किनारे में दो यदि नदिया किनारे में दो यदि कब आई हो आई हो नदिया नदी नदी नदिया किनारा मेरा गाँव नदिया नदिया अरे नदी 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 नदिया किनारा मेरा गाँव कब यही हो कब यही हो आई हो काबी अपना दिया किनारे में गाँव मोरा पिछु बाबू मेरी कदम की छैया मोरा पिछु बाबू अब कदम की छैया मेरी ललता सखी मरना ललता सखी मरना नदिया किनारे मेरा नदिया किनारे मेरा नदिया किनारे मेरा. What a wonderful rendition and wonderful style. Also, the voice of Siddheshwari Bai sounds a bit younger here, perhaps. I mean, it's my perception, maybe. Yes, yeah. In fact, it was early 1930s, 1931, 32, when she was hardly 20 years. It was one of her first gramophone records. That's why I intentionally chose these records when they were really young and prime of their singing ability. So this was also the 1930s period that
Yeah.
you
were emphasizing about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. and she was one of the main Gandharvis that we will.
Yeah, that's why another reason why I chose her in the first instance, because Nadia Kinare Mera Gaon, her gaon was Torwa. Now, Torwa is one of the places of the Gandharva region. You know, this you might be knowing about it. Now, Torwa is where she came from, and the village Torwa is part of the great Gandharva region, which was gifted by the Maharaja of
Uh-huh.
Kashi. And in fact,
So when was that? A few centuries back, or?
yeah, it was few centuries back, and those gifted musicians, it was given for the gifted musicians, and were called Gandharvas by the Maharaja of Kashi. And during the course of centuries, more gifted of them, they shifted base to Benaras, and Benaras embraced them with open arms. Others, of course, stayed back agriculture and other things, but not everybody could sustain 200 centuries. But uh, you know. This Siddheshwari is from Torwa, one of the places allotted for the
Right.
Gandharvas, and she
Okay.
was in fact a Gandharvi in the truest
In the
sense.
truest sense. Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. There is just a question saying, what was the name of the book again, please? So I suppose you mean the Sriti Rotole by Amir
Tumrio
Khan, right?
Baiji. I
Yeah.
think Reba Mohuri,
The two books we mentioned
two
about.
books. One
Yeah.
is Reba Mohuri Tumrio Baiji
Yeah.
by Reba Mohuri. And the other book, of course, the copy, I don't have it here, but it's quite a famous book. Sriti Otale, Omionath Sanyal.
Yeah. Okay, and shall we move on to the next rendition? Who is it going to be?
It would be another Gandharvi in the truest sense. This time from the village Jauri. Jauri is also one of the places within the Gandharva region. And we are going to play the redoubtable Vidyadhari Bai. Of course, people don't know Vidyadhari Bai today. She belongs to the earlier generation of Siddheshwari. She was born around 1880s or so.
Okay.
And this recording, of course, in 1930s when she was, of course, past her prime. But again, let us listen to another Gandharvi of that region.
गुलाब की बाग में फूलों क्या लिया डाली आई अब आई दुआंदिया में तेरी यादी आन जपारने अब घेर लियो हाय अब चंदा जानी क्या साची चला आई गालू मत अब गालू गालू मत गालू मत अब Anganu me mati so ha Anganu me Anganu me mati so Anganu me mati
What a wonderful style, so languid and graceful. So for Vidyadhari Bai, also we do not hear much reference of her,
Yes,
right?
they are forgotten people. They are not male musicians, they are female musicians. Therefore, they're forgotten. Now, Vidyadhari Bai was a prima donna during her time. She not only performed in Benares, she was sought after in Nepal, Calcutta, even in Delhi. And she was actually, she was trained in Drupad Dhamar Khyal. She was an all-rounder. Most of these Benares, Gandharvis were all-rounders. They are
Mm-hmm.
not only today, of course, because of Reba Muri's penchant for Tungri, we'll be playing mostly Tungris, but they are all all-rounders. And Vidyadhari Bai, besides being a singer, was a great freedom fighter, in the background, because she had a lot of meetings with Mahatma Gandhi, and she used to harbor a lot of, this funds
Mm-hmm.
for him. That is the other side of Vidyadhari Devi. But mostly people in Benares, old timers, remember Vidyadhari as the queen of Durvamangal,
Mm-hmm.
because she had her own Mayurpanki, this boat, Mayurpanki,
Yeah.
that's looking like a Mayur, and the king, the Kashi Naresh, was always in attendance with Vidyadhari. She was the
Yeah.
queen of Purvamangal.
Yeah, Burva Mangal, maybe it's worth also mentioning to some listeners who might not know, because I remember you telling me about this, that this is one of the like grand music festival that used to happen in Benares. I think the first Tuesday
First Tuesday after the
of the
Holi,
after the
yeah,
Holi, all through the night with the different boats flowing along the river Ganges with the great musicians, and yeah, it sounds like a fairy tale to me.
indeed, and it is.
Yeah.
We'd like to have another queen of
Mm-hmm.
Purvamangal, the later queen. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the queen who succeeded Vidyadhari as the queen of Purvamangal
Mm-hmm.
was Bai Kashibai, Kashibai of
So
Benares.
so that will be our next
Yes,
song that
let's
we
just
will.
listen to Kashibai.
There's some problem. No, no, I think it will be. Kashibai?
जाते हो राजा तो गरवा लगा जाते हो राजा तो गरवा लगा जाते हमें फिराक में मुझको न मुस्कुराती दे समझिए आपकी तेरी हूँ मैं दया कीजिए हो जाते हो गाना तो गरमा लगा जहाँ जाते हो राजा जो गरमा लगा जा जाते हो राजा प्रेम की बातें नसीब होती है मुश्किल से ऐश की रातें तुम आओगे अजीब मैं जानती हूँ ये बातें कि तुमसे और कहाँ होंगे ये मुलाकातें हो जाते हो राजा तो गरमा लगा जा जाते हो राजा तो गरमा अब लगा जा हो जाते हो राजा खुदा करे न किसी से किसी को उल्फत हो किसी का दिल न असीदे हमें मोहब्बत हो ये मैं तो कह नहीं सकती कि बेमुहब्बत हो ये अर्ज सुन्नत माँ है बड़ी जिनायत हो जाते हो राजा तो कदमा लगा जा जाते हो राजा तो गरम लगा जा जाते हो राजा
Wonderful. What graceful and what abhinaya through the song.
Yeah, that's intentionally I chose this song because you could feel the vinaya when it must be accompanied by dance and that sort of thing during the Buru Amangal festival. And Kashibai died very young. It's very tragic that she died so young. But she was a great Dhrupad singer, Dhamar singer. And we had a Dhamar records also, gramophone record of Dhamar, and she was from the Betia style of Dhrupad Dhamar singing. Great, of course, Tungri, Toppa, and she was a complete package. And she's one of my most favorite singers of that period. But I had once asked Kishan Maharaj, Pandit Kishan Maharaj, about her, and she confirmed that she was the queen of that period. And only Kanthe Maharaj was allowed to accompany her. You could imagine her, the level. None other than Kante Maharaj could, dare to approach her to accompany her. And in fact, the gramophone record we played, it must be Kante Maharaj on the tabla, and so on. But
I mean, indeed, it's a pity that we only have these 3 minutes or so records available
yes,
and not
yes,
longer versions.
that is how our country is. They don't have much, respect for this type of song. But that's another issue. Yes, I fully agree
But
with
at
you.
least through this rendition, I was transported to the Guru Mangal time.
Yeah, of course.
But let's move on, perhaps. So, who are we going to listen to next? Perhaps the person who inspired this session,
I
Reba
think I
Mohri?
think we should pay her some respect because Reba Mohri was a very good writer. She told me personally that she had burnt a lot of manuscripts herself. A trait she got from her father because her father also, burned a lot of manuscripts, thinking that people will not understand. But she was really a trained musician. Of course, an amateur musician, not a professional musician. And you might have heard Reba Mohri sometime.
Yeah, let's listen to her now.
Yeah.
बरकन लागे सावन बुदिया तेरो बिन ना लागे मोरे जाकिना तेरो बिन ना लागे मोरे जाकिना तेरो बिन ना लागे मोरे जाकिना तेरो बिना बिना ना लगे मोरे जाकिना बिना ना लगे मोरे जाकिना तेरो बिना ना लगे तेरो बिना ना लगे मोरे जाकिना तेरो बिना ना लगे मोरे जाकिना चाँद महीना चाँद महीना बरकन लाग चाँद महीना बरकन लाग बरकन लाग बरकन लाग अब खून आए हमारे सैना अब खून आए हमारे सैना बिना न लगे मोरे जाकिना बिना न लगे मोरे जाकिना बिना न लगे मोरे जाकिना
Wonderful. I mean, as someone also writes in the chat, it's evident that she had a very good training from the Gandharvis, and it's wonderful. So maybe now it's time that you tell us something more about her perspectives that she wrote in her book about.
In fact, yes, yes. In fact, in the book, her first meeting was with Siddheshwari Bai. That was, she says that is in 1951. And Siddheshwari appeared to her as a very vivacious, very outwardly, very, very intimate type of person, God fearing. And she has appeared to have embraced her life in its own terms. And musically, of course, she says that her diction was something, absolutely perfect diction. And, the Bilambit Bharat of her is unparalleled. She also mentions that Siddheshwari was an emotional person, very emotional person. She used to laugh or even cry during her, some of the emotional moments of her Tungri. She used to cry, and is a very, very natural, spontaneous, vivacious person. That's the impression she got, and she had met Siddheshwari a lot of occasions. Siddheshwari used to come and stay with her also in Calcutta. But those are the personal anecdotes. But musically, this is more or less what she says about Siddheshwari. And coming to Siddheshwari, of course, she met Siddheshwari when she was settled in life and she had nothing much to complain. But there is another side of Siddheshwari which will come out in the next record. That is the early period of Siddheshwari, when she was struggling, when she was without a home because her aunt Rajeshwari Bai, she was a great Bai, but she just let her, out in the streets, sort of, and she was on her own with her guru Siaji Maharaj and her uncle, and she had hardly, anything to, any no earning, nothing. At that time, the only source was the bhajans in the mandis, in the religious festivals. Bhajan was in great demand in Benares. So her guru taught her some bhajans so that she can earn something for her living. And this is, the earliest record of Siddheshwari. This particular song made Siddheshwari
I will
what
play
she
it
is
now.
today. So this is a historic record, slightly
And
old.
maybe we should also say the name of the songs before we play.
Abhotogari, actually, as of Draupadi's, calling out Krishna because she had no vastra to wear. In fact, let me tell you another thing about this, because when she went for the recording of this song, she didn't have any vastra to wear herself. So
Yes.
who gave her the bastra is the another, Gandharvi,
Mm-hmm.
Vidyadhari Bai
Mm-hmm.
from the adjacent village. She not only gave
Yeah.
her, very good sari,
Yeah.
but also gave her Ashirwad that
Mhm.
you'd be a very great, singer one day. So
Okay.
this is, let's listen to
Let's
this
listen to this song.
song, which made Siddheshwari
Yeah.
Siddheshwari.
Also, for everybody at the end, I will just make a list of all the songs with, yeah, the names of the great maestros who sang them so that this stays as a reference. From the beginning? Okay.
अब होता हूँ भारी न द्रौपदी पुकारी जब होता हूँ भारी न द्रौपदी पुकारी जब होता हूँ भारी हमारी बारी प्रभु शरण हूँ तिहारी जब कहूँ गुगान की सब खटे दुशासन तो हाथ खटे ये तारी है नारी नारी है तारी जब हो भारी लगती पुकारी.
Wonderful, just spellbound.
Yeah, actually, I should have apologized for the scratchy records, but I thought that in this particular record, she said that I have a right. I'm Siddheshwari, I have a right, and she just sang her heart out here. I felt that. So, in spite of these very scratchy conditions, which I can't help because
Yeah,
these
of
records are
course.
no longer available, I wish I could get a better copy of this, but
I think
this,
we can still get the taste
oh
of
my
it.
God, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is actually a bhajan, not a thumri that you were mentioning that she used to sing
Actually,
bhajans in the way.
that's where she started her living because at that time bhajan was in great demand, and she was also in great demand of money to sustain herself, her guru Siaji
Of
Maharaj.
course.
In fact, in this record, I presume it's Siaji Maharaj, a guru who played the sarangi, and her uncle Amarnath, who was staying with her, played the tabla. So that's where I chose this particular record.
I see. Let's go back a bit to the topic of Reva Muri and the Purab Thumri. So, did she have anything particular to say about the
Yeah,
Purab
she did say a lot of things about Pura Bangtungri, which she learned from particularly Bari Motibai. But before that, we could go into a Gandharva, Gandharva musician in the garden of Gandharvis, because without Gandharvas, Gandharvis are not complete. So this Gandharva is Pandit Ramaji, of course, another forgotten name, Pandit Ramaji, who I think epitomizes a certain aspect of Purab Angatungri. If we listen, let us listen to
Mhm.
this record and we can discuss
Yes.
more.
Prataya Veera Gulam Lali छाया रही है उड़तया वीरा गुलाल लाल श्यामा लाल भई राधा लाल लाल नवला ब्रजबान अज लाली छाया रही है उड़ताया बेरा गुलाम अंबर लाल लाल भई जमुना अंबर लाल लाल भई जमुना लाल गौवा गोपाल आरामली लाल कृत डाला लाल लाल मोतियाने की माल अचला लाली रे छाया रही रे उड़ता है अभी अब ला ला लाली छाया रही घर उड़ता मेरा गुलाम अब उड़ता मेरा गुलाम उड़ता मेरा गुलाम उड़ता मेरा गुलाम
Wonderful. Urata Abir Gulal. It seems like through this song he painted the famous Kabir Chauraha red during Holi. So Kabir Chauraha is the place where the famous musicians of Benares used to
Yeah,
live,
they used to live.
right?
It's a cluster,
Like,
the most famous cluster of
yeah.
musicians in India, I suppose, the Kabir Chawla. Yeah, besides that, this Ramaji, his full name is Ramaji Shukla. His name doesn't appear in any music books, but he's a great singer. He is of the same age of Maujuddin, but he was a Shagird. He was the earliest and the oldest Shagird of Maujuddin. And people, uh, very few people know about him, but I have read once or twice in some of the journal. He lived up to 105 years of age, and he also opened some sort of school in Benares, Sangeet Sangha or something like that. But he was one of the truest uh, the stylist of Mawjuddin.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, I thought that I would bring in one Gandharva in the picture. There'll be another Gandharva later on,
Yeah.
but let us, that's one of the reasons. The second reason is this about this bowl banawa, the bowl vistar, which the Pura Tungri specializes in. One bowl, maybe lal rang. I mean, the way he started, painting the lal rang. I've been sometimes is focusing in a wider context, lower context, making the lal rang, go all over the expanse. That's the one of the, of course, it's 3.5 minutes record cannot do justice to the full range of bol banawat, and that sort of thing. But we could gain certain
Yeah.
aspect of this Pura Bang Tungri from his style of singing.
Shall we now move on to the next rendition? I think we can listen to Badi Moti Bai now. Uh,
Yeah, Barimoti Bai, before we listen to her, actually, I think we should say something about, Reba Mori's interaction.
yeah.
Uh, because, you see, this is a component of tragedy. Absolutely, one should write about this, Barimoti Bai. When Reba Muri went to Benares, she was inquiring about Barimoti Bai. No, some people said that she is dead. Some said that they have not heard about Barimoti Bai. That was in early 1960s. And ultimately, she got hold of a person who gave her address him some Lal Imli or some peculiar place, obscure place in Benares. She went there and found, Barimoti Bai lying in a khatia inside a cow shed. Cow shed means, actually buffalo shed, So just besides the 4 or 5 buffaloes, Barimoti Bai is lying in a khatia. And according to her father, Rebamuni's father, Barimoti Bai is the greatest of them all. Of course, that could be opinion, but according to at least Amina Sanda, so she was just flabbergasted to say the least. And she introduced herself after a long time. Barimoti Bai recognized her father as Dr. Babu and that sort of thing. And then the first thing she did was to go back to Benares, buy her a mosquito net so that she doesn't suffer mosquito bite.
Yes.
And then her Reva Mori's husband was a doctor, so she brought some medicines for filaria because filaria has already set in because of the mosquito bites.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the state she found Reva, Barimoti Bai, one of the greatest singers of all time of Tungri, in that state. And she started learning in earnest. And one of the ways to also pay her something, but more because she really wanted to learn. And what she learned from Barimoti Bai is something very very we never thought that's possible. She learned Tungri in the raga Iman Kalyan. She learned Tungri in the raga Jaijanti. She learned Tungri in the raga Darbari Kanara. She learned Tungri in various malars. And she said that every expert say that these ragas are meant for Dhrupa the Khyal, and Tungri is suitable for Pilu, Khambaj, and all those Bhairavi. But Barimoti Bai said that please bring those gentlemen to me. I would try to explain to them how Tungris could also be sung in this in the bigger ragas. And when she sang Tungri, it was as if it's a Dhrupad Bharat. There are no murkis.
Mm-hmm.
just steady notes like a Drupad,
Mm-hmm.
straight notes when she was doing the
Mm-hmm.
Bistar Parv. And then ultimately she incorporated a lot of tappas and
Mm-hmm.
alankars.
Mm-hmm.
But during the Bistarang, it was just like a Dhrupad Bistar. And Reba Muri thought that she must have been a very good Dhrupad singer. Although her principal guru was Mojuddin, his main inspiration was Mojuddin, and I think Mojuddin was a lover also. But in fact, she always, pined for Mojuddin. But she learned initially from Bari Ramdas ji, the intricacies of Bari Khayal and Thrupad also.
So today, what are we going to listen to
Of
for
course, I
Varimoti
mean,
ma'am?
there's only one single piece of gramophone record is existing, so that's a Tungri, and we'll listen to Barimoti by Tungri
कान्हा भीख भरी बंसला.
Basuri. Yeah.
कान्हा दुख भरी बसिया सुनाई गयना सुनाई गयना कान्हा दुख भरी बसिया सुनाई गयना बसिया बचा के कान्हा बसिया बचा के कान्हा गैला मधुबरुआ तो फसिया गैला नावती बड़ी सास लिया से फसिए गए
Aha, अपूर्व.
I can say something more. I mean, I remember what Rebamu said about her, style. She actually taught Rebamuri various types of pukar, bara pukar, chota pukar. Normally pukars are, once, it comes out in the song, but the, uses of various types of pukars and how the various rags come and go, seamlessly, because Tungri is always a mixture of three or four rags depending upon the sentiments. And in her case, it is always seamless. One rag is coming and merging with another rag. It's a very seamless type of phenomena. And before, of course, I end the chapter of Reba Muri, I should also mention one thing where that no, sorry, not Bari Motibai. Reba Muri wanted to bring her to Calcutta so that she could be looked after, but she refused to go back. She said that it is her experience that the buffaloes are better, acquaintance than men. This is how life treated her. She said that
Really
she
unfortunate.
preferred the acquaintances of buffaloes than people.
This is
That was
indeed,
the
yeah,
last, yeah,
it's a heart-wrenching
yeah.
story. I mean, I think this one session is not enough, definitely, to cover this. I mean, vast knowledge that you have, of course, and the vast expanse of this topic as well. I think also many other stalwarts will not be covered
No,
today.
Benares, I think,
Right.
is the richest center of music in India. I mean, no other center had ever been such rich, so rich as Benares. So it's a very small, looking glass through which we are looking today. Rebamur is, just a mirror.
Mm.
And we are not covering the great variety of, shoestringar, bean players, pakhwaj players, tabla players, shehnai players,
Yeah, of
sitar
course.
players,
Yeah.
Dhrupat, Khyal. So we are not talking about this Shush Sahai Mitra and Thakur Prasad and all those things. So that would take 10 or 15 sessions. We don't know, but let us stick to only the one smaller section of Benares as portrayed by Deva Mohri today. And yes,
And then we go to another Gandharva now?
yes,
Or
yeah, that's another name which slipped because there is. Ram Prasad Misra is called properly Ramuji because there are a lot of Benares musicians migrated to other parts of India, mainly to eastern part of India, Nepal and Calcutta, sometimes to Tripura and other places. So Ram Prasad Misra ultimately migrated first to Gaya, then to Calcutta. So Ramuji, and is another versatile musician, and he's a storehouse of bandishes. Let us listen to one
yeah,
of his tunes.
Jao Pardeswa.
Yeah.
एक राम पद आवन कही आवन कही अजहु न आए पिया नदिया नाम पदते नाम पदते नाम पदते नाम पदते
Fantastic. I mean, what effortless style. So this brings to my mind another question. So, what was the signature Gayaki of the Benaras maestros?
Yeah, it's a difficult question, but I think it should be answered by, again, I mean, by playing one record. But you see, there are a lot of misconceptions about Tungri, Purabang, or whatever, that Tungri should not contain tans like Khyal. If we have heard, most of
Hmm.
them full of tans, even
Yeah.
in the earlier Tungri artists like Gharjan and Mawjuddin, all their Tungris, are replete with tans.
Mhm.
So this is one. Second is the way these Benares singers use their voice. It's more or less like a windpipe instrument. The vocal cords are less, it's a wind coming out, just like, maybe Shehnai. So, I mean, I don't know whether Bismillah got where he got the pukars from, the Shehnai. It must be from them. And the way they use the, vocal cords, absolutely, or not use the vocal cord rather. It's just like a windpipe, the sas. It's absolutely amazing, and if we found it in Kashibai, we found it in Siddheshwari, the early
Mhm.
Siddheshwari,
Yeah.
even the older, Vidyadhari,
Hmm.
even the very old Ramaji, the
Hmm.
way they are, throwing their voice, there's hardly any vocal cord, it's all sas. And this would be apparent from another artist who will play
So Krishna Bai.
Krishna Bai. And
No,
don't ask me who was she.
let's first listen to
Yeah.
her.
यदि हारी गलिया अब हारी गलिया बाजी रही मधुबन
Truly wonderful. What pukars? I mean, now I understand more what you were talking about
Is it
when you
Bismillah Sana? If you just go to the other room and listen to it, it could be as if
yeah.
Bismillah is playing it. So shall I? I think she was elder sister of Kashibai.
Mhm.
But we are not sure who was she. They're forgotten people. They should be forgotten, isn't it? I mean, the way they sang, with so much of lung power, they should not be remembered anymore. So yeah.
I think we are reaching towards the end of today's session. So there are a few questions on the chat, but maybe we could finish playing our last
What are
piece
we can answer some
and
questions.
then,
Okay. I mean,
yeah,
as in, like after we finish, yeah.
to not break maybe the
Sure.
yeah, the sequence. But what is going to be our last
It should end with a
rendition?
Vairavi,
Yeah,
unless there is
uh,
another request. So and who else but Rasulan, the great Rasulan Bai, who
so
remained a
Bhairavi.
Bai throughout her life. She died in 1970s, chill penury, uncared for. She was suffering from paralysis for 2.5 years in a public bed in a government hospital. Nobody to care for her. Reason is that she never compromised like Siddheshwari. She always said that, am I not an artist? Art cannot be compromised. She always asked, why I should compromise, why I should teach a substandard, person, why I should go to a Kothabari or Baganbari, I'm an artist.
Mhm.
And she had to pay the price.
Truly.
And Rasulan is Rasulan, according to Barimoti Bai, she said that, the moment she started singing, nobody dared to even move.
Mhm.
That was mesmeric,
Truly.
although her voice range is not as large as Motibai or Siddheshwari. But there was something in Rasulan, And she was extremely proud of herself. She never believed in God. She cursed God throughout her life. She said that God is the cruelest person in the world, if there is a God. Because the people like us who have really, we have really given everything to music, why we should suffer, and people
Yeah.
who don't do anything, they are
True.
prospering. That was
True.
so let
Let's listen
us,
to her.
yeah.
Unagadu Namara
Truly wonderful. What
Uh,
grandeur.
yeah, I wish people have realized one thing that this is a famous, a very famous song for
Yeah.
Lagat Kalejua Me
Yeah.
Chot, but in this case, it's Lagat Jobanua Me Chot. I don't think this word would have passed censor in today's context. In fact, in 1951, 52, this is 1934 record. In 51, 52, Rasulan again recorded as Lagata Kalejua Me Chot, because Lagata Jovanwa Chot has a lot of other connotations. It was there, it was possible in 1930s when those Gandharvis had their own, they could say anything, they could do anything, they could not, they are not required to distort the words. And that's why I played this record, Lagate Jovanwa Mechur. So it has a lot of erotic connotations, but it's okay. It was there with them. That's the reason. I hope people have realized that.
Yeah, it's amazing. We also have a comment from Shreya ji, I think. She said the same thing, that love that you're playing the older version with the lyrics unsanitized. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
so amazing. No, I'm truly enriched, and I was transported to Benares the last 1 hour. It was indeed wonderful. I mean, we have a few questions or comments. Maybe if there are more, please feel free to write them on the chat. But the first one that I can see is, let me bring it a
No,
bit
before
closer.
before before I answer the question, I
Yeah,
should say something,
sure.
because my daughter Chandri, in fact, it was she who always showed so much of interest, because I'm a very very idle type of person.
No,
What
that's not
happens
true.
that people who listen to too much of music becomes very idle. That's the reason why Aurangzeb wanted to kill music from India. So he wanted to people to be more active. But whatever it is, and I'm sitting in her beautiful apartment overlooking the majestic snow-clad Alps in the background, whatever. So ideal setting for a new setting, of course, for Benares Chuni. So yeah, now the questions.
So apparently the Reva Muri book had a CD of songs included. Is that true?
No, that is another book, not this one. Another book was published posthumously, after her death. It indeed has a CD, but this is not. This book didn't have a CD inside.
So the CD of
So,
songs.
CD of songs of Reba Mori herself,
Okay,
her own voice. Yes, the
okay,
answer is yes, but that's another book.
good to know. And then from Budhatitya Bhattacharya, we have, can we, it's a request, I think. So can we please get a glimpse of the exceptionally rich Laggi repertoire of Benares, perhaps sometimes in the near future? and
Oh,
then he thanks you.
of course, definitely. In fact, you will get it most, with the Kashibai recordings where, like these were done by Kante Maharaj himself. Sure.
And one there was one question I wanted to ask. Maybe I take the opportunity that so we have heard some of the greatest uh, great the wives or the Gandharvis of Benaras today. So was there some common element between the three greatest? Let's say Rasulan Bai, Barimoti Bai, and Siddheshwari
Well,
Bai.
according to Deva Muri, none. She was surprised. She thought that there must be some common elements of the great singers, and she observed that she found no common elements at all. I mean, three of them are absolutely divergent. First of all, Siddheshwari, God fearing, very compromising, very easygoing, happy, full of laughter, frolic. Her, her songs are also spontaneous, everything like her. Now, about Bari Motibai, she felt that she has withdrawn from life, absolutely. She has resigned, she has just been thankful expression. Nothing moves her. In fact, the human emotions uh, don't move. It didn't move her at that time when she saw. I mean, she preferred companionship of buffalo. So that was the state, of Barimoti Bai. And Rasulun Bai was, of course, very bitter person. She was egoistic. Very bitter about the world. Very bitter about the fate, and she was very outspoken, very intelligent. Her IQ level was very high, very intelligent. So she was also very sensitive, but she never brought the emotions in public. She always suppressed her emotions. Even the most emotional songs, there was hardly any expression in her face. So these three are totally three different type of as individuals. But
Amazing.
artistically, there must be some common elements. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are all great vocalists, and but the styles are totally different.
Yeah, so that was more my question. Very interesting. So there is another question from Pooja Shaha. Says, thank you very much. It was enlightening. Are there any books on the lives of the singers, and where can I find more information about their lives?
It's hardly anything. Now, of course, some books are coming up, some imaginary tales of like books on Janki Bai, books on Garjan, some books on Siddheshwari. There's a nice book written by Siddheshwari's daughter, Savita Devi. So Ma, it's called Ma. So some books, but the books on this other people like Barimoti Bai, Kashi Bai, Krishna Bai, Vidyadhari, absolutely nothing. You will hardly get their names in the who's who of the musicians of India. So it's a very tragic. Some, yes, like this Reba Mori's book, some like Amir Shandat. There's another very nice book, Brahmomane Dinoponji by Dilip Kumar Rai.
Mhm.
He has also written extensively on some of the wives like Achan Bai, like Janki Bai, even Barimoti Bai. In fact, the Dilip Kumar Rai taught a Bengali song to Barimoti Bai also once.
Mhm.
So yes, there are some, but not many.
So there is also this book called Tawaif Nama by Sabah Devan, Shreyaji
Yes, the
says.
wife
Yeah.
Nama, but yes, but these are not, the earlier period, mostly fiction, but factual. I am talking about the books on these people,
Right.
20th century, early 20th century, the
Right.
biographical aspects,
That's
hardly
right.
anything. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any more questions or comments? I mean, please feel free to also reach out to him later through email. I think most of you know his email. If not, also write to me. I can put you in touch with him. And if there are no more questions, thank all of you once again for encouraging us and for attending this session and making it an interactive event. And we hope to continue this not again 1.5 years later, but more regularly with some other interesting topic. And until then, stay healthy, stay safe. Bye bye.
Yeah, no, yes.